Good evening, everyone. Please have a seat. Curb your enthusiasm for the May 14th, 2019 meeting of the Glendale City Council. May we have roll call?
Council members Agajanian.
Present.
Devine.
Here.
Carpetian.
Here.
Sinanian.
Here.
Mayor Najarian.
Here. Council member Agajanian, would you lead us in the flag salute?
I invite everybody to join me for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for this evening's invocation. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy signed into law that May 15th would henceforth be known as Peace Officers Memorial Day and Police Week, an observance in the United States that pays tribute to the local, state, and federal peace officers who have died or who have been disabled in the line of duty. Someone, and I believe it may have been our U.S. Senator Barbara Boxer, once said that, quote, law enforcement officers are never off duty. They are dedicated public servants who are sworn to protect public safety at any time and place that the peace is threatened. They need all the help that they can get, end quote. As residents, leaders, and stakeholders of this community, we pray that we treat those who defend this community with the dignity and respect they deserve, that we acknowledge their great sacrifices, and that we lend our support to them and their families when they need it. We pray for their safety and for the safety of the city and hope that they carry out their duties safe from harm. Pray for the memory of those we have lost here in Glendale in the line of duty and those who have suffered injury. May their memories shine as a beacon to those who step up to fulfill the promise of a safe and secure society governed by laws. We pray for this as we pray for peace here in Glendale and throughout the world, tonight and always. Amen.
Amen.
May we have your report, please?
The agenda for the May 14, 2019 regular meeting of the Glendale City Council was posted on Thursday, May 9, 2019 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. The next item.
The presentation on appointments 3A is the agenda preview for the meetings of Tuesday, May 21st, 2019.
Mr. Taktalian.
Good evening, Mayor Najarian, members of the City Council. Next week, we'll have a special City Council meeting in the afternoon. There'll be two reports, both from the Director of Community Development. The first one will be an update on Shared Mobility Pilot Program, where we'll be issuing an RFP, and the second will be a report. It'll be actually a public hearing on a Design Review Board case number PDR 1900634, located at 275 West Lexington. That involves the installation of a mural on one of the buildings. Moving to the evening meetings of the City Council, there's a number of items under consent. At 4B will be a report from the Department of Public Works related to the San Fernando Road Rehabilitation Project. At 4C will be a report from Public Works and the Fire Chief regarding renovations at Fire Stations 26 and Fire Station 28. And the final report on the consent will be from the Fire Department regarding amendments of the Professional Services Agreement with Digital EMS Solutions. Under action items is a report from the Chief of Police regarding use of force legislation. And the final item that evening will be a hearing at 9A, Interim Finance Director, and that'll be the fiscal year 1920 proposed citywide budget.
Thank you. Next item, please.
3B is a proclamation designating May 19th through 25th, 2019 as National Public Works Week.
And who is here from our great Public Works Department?
Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, I'd like to introduce Ms. R.P. Parsadanian, who's going to come in and say a few words about this week.
Hello.
Thank you, Mayor Najarian and esteemed members of the Council. My name is R.P. Parsadanian and I work for the Public Works Department. We are very proud to accept this proclamation. On behalf of the Director of Public Works, I would like this opportunity to formally invite you all to our Public Works Employee Breakfast and Open House. In front of you is an invitation to the event and I hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have a proclamation. And it reads, whereas public works projects and services are critical to the growth and quality of life in the city of Glendale and are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives. Through the efforts of our Public Works Department, Glendale remains a safe and comfortable community in which to reside. And whereas the support of informed citizens is vital to the efficient maintenance and operation of the city's infrastructure, including operations such as street maintenance and urban forestry services, traffic and civil engineering, traffic signal management, facilities maintenance, integrated waste management, transit and fleet services. And whereas the employees of the Public Works Department are committed to providing daily infrastructure services in a quality manner, and whereas a well-planned, designed, and maintained municipal infrastructure is vitally dependent upon a team of people dedicated to professional excellence, customer satisfaction, and who strive to accomplish their everyday tasks efficiently, effectively, and with accountability to the community they serve. Now therefore, I, Ara Najarian, Mayor of the City of Glendale, do hereby proclaim May 19th through 25th, 2019, as National Public Works Week, and call upon all citizens and civic organizations in the City of Glendale to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing for our local infrastructure and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to the betterment of our residents' health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Mr. Agajanian, you're the closest we have to a public works at being an engineer, so please present. And it's a great breakfast, by the way. Those interested, it's Thursday, this coming Thursday at 6:30 to 9:30 at the Public Works Corporate Yard, 541 West Chevy Chase Drive. Next item.
Next item is a proclamation designating May 2019 as Bike Month.
You are welcome. Who's here for Bike Month?
Come on down,
in.
staff.
Cycle on in. Where's our treasurer? Oh, he missed out. He was advocating for bicycle lanes today. Hi there.
Hi. Dear Mayor Najarian and honorable council members, thank you for this proclamation, and also thank you for your efforts in reducing our carbon footprint. I'd like to also give the floor to our Go Glendale organization.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Thank you so much for this proclamation for Bike and Walk to Work Day on Thursday, May 16th of this year. We'll be having 2 pit stops this year, one at 400 North Brand from 7 to 10 a.m. and one at City Hall from 6 to 9 a.m. So we encourage you to spread the word. We're going to be giving out bagels, refreshments, and encouragement for those who bike and walk on Thursday, May 16th. My name is Bronwyn Kiner. I'm with Go Glendale. We're the Transportation Management Association, and we support employers, residents, and property owners, encouraging the use of public transit, ride sharing, and alternative modes such as biking and walking. Thank you again for your support.
Thank you. Well, let me read the proclamation. Whereas the month of May is National Bike Month and cities across the nation will be hosting events and promoting Bike to Work Day on May 16th, 2019, and whereas the City of Glendale encourages biking as an alternative mode of transportation in effort to reduce the city's carbon footprint and relieve traffic congestion, the city does this by encouraging employees to ride share, implement the Glendale Bicycle Transportation Plan, citywide Safe Routes to School program, and citywide Safe Education Initiative, promoting driver, bicyclist, and pedestrian safety and encouraging physical activity. And whereas the City of Glendale, for more than a decade, has offered a pit stop location for Bike Work Day and worked with local partners to provide information and support to bicyclists who stop in Glendale, and whereas the City of Glendale is committed to educating those who walk, drive, and bike in Glendale to do so in a safe, smart manner through its Be Street Smart Glendale campaign, and whereas the City of Glendale supports bicycle use by offering free bike rides on Glendale Beeline buses and by installing bicycle racks throughout Glendale, free bike rides on Glendale Beeline buses. That means the bikes ride free, or you can ride freely on the bike, on the bus. Do you get a free ticket? Do you get a free ride on Beeline?
Yes.
If you have a bike. Okay, so bring a bike.
Just show your bike or helmet.
Okay. Whereas the City of Glendale has committed to encouraging the youth of the community to stay active and healthy and to continue to ride their bicycles by providing bicycle safety rodeos in local elementary schools. And now therefore I, R. Najarian, Mayor of the City of Glendale, do hereby proclaim May 2019 to be Bike Month in Glendale. Mr. Carpeccia.
Avid bike rider.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, photo bomb, Mr. Carpeccia.
All right.
Thank you.
Interesting.
And the next item, Mr. Kasaki.
3D is a mayor's commendation to the 2019 Children's Bookmark Contest winners.
Thank you, and who is here for the bookmark contest?
I am Chris Baker, one of the children's librarians at the Downtown Central Library, and we have all of our children here tonight.
Well, thank you. Tell us about this contest.
All right. Well, this year we were lucky to have more than 760 participants across all of Glendale. This contest has been going on for more than 50 years, and all of our winners are here with us this evening.
Thank you. I see that we have 8 winners.
We do. We have 8 winners, one for kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. Our theme this year, which reflects our summer reading contest, our summer reading program, is
What's the theme? What's the theme?
it's showtime at our library. It's been a long day. Oh my goodness. We have mock-ups of their bookmarks in giant form for you guys to look at and enjoy.
Okay, I'm going to call up the winners, and we're going to come down and join them with the proclamations and a pin, honorary pin. So we have Ivy Orendi. Come on up. We have Celeste Peasley. Jacqueline Song. Jethro Santos. Emma Mardarusian. Cassandra Orozco. Kelly Rolunian. And Nicole Iam. Congratulations. Okay. Wait, no pictures yet.
Pieces of their bookmark.
Why don't we fill, since they're lined up, let's fill in and get our picture, and then we'll distribute the certificates.
Nice big smile.
Great. Okay, Ivy. That's a certificate.
Cassandra?
Congratulations. Way to go.
Thank you. We have it down. Because this is...
Let's hear it for our talented kids. Yay. And let's wait. And Mr. Clerk, there's one other item not on the agenda, and that is Glendale Police Week. Who's here to receive this? The chief? I'm sorry. It's today. I know we're surprised. Chief Baldivitis, front and center. Thank you, Chief and officers. We're here to recognize Glendale Police with Glendale Police Week. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the Glendale Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of our citizens, and whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the men and women of the Glendale Police Department unceasingly provide a vital public service, now therefore I, R.N. Najarian, Mayor of the City of Glendale, proclaim May 12th through 18th, 2019 as Glendale Police Week, so that the city and its residents can recognize law enforcement officers, past and present, who served our community and in doing so have helped preserve the rights and security of our citizens. We encourage all residents to observe May 15th, 2019 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in the performance of duty. Thank you, officers. I'm going to ask Councilmember Sinanian to present that, and we would love to hear from.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, members of the City Council. It's an honor to receive this proclamation, and it's an honor to work for the City of Glendale and for the community of Glendale. Thank you very much.
Seems women down there.
Probably. Yep.
They said not this week. Not this week. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. What is the next item?
Next item on the agenda is a consent calendar, including minutes following a routine and may be acted upon by one motion. A member of Council or the audience requesting separate consideration may do so by making such request before a motion is proposed.
Is there a motion?
I'll move the consent items.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Council members Agajanian?
Yes.
Devine?
Yes.
Garpetian? Yes. Sinanian? Yes. Mayor Najarian.
Yes. What's the next item?
Next item on the agenda is City Council and staff comments.
Let me start from my right and come down.
Okay, I just have...
Councilmember Devine.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I just have one announcement, and it's concerning the Hollywood Burbank Airport and the new 14-gate replacement terminal that's in kind of the works right now. And I just want to announce that there will be a charrette, which is like a workshop from 6 to 9 p.m. on May 29th at Glendale Community College. So I encourage all of you, if you have any interest in input in the new airport about concerning improvements, design features, or any amenities that you think would be great to have in a brand-new airport terminal, please be sure to go. Again, May 29th, 6 to 9 p.m. at Glendale Community College. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Garpetian. I just have two items that I'd like to discuss. I won't talk about where I've been or what we did. We've had quite a busy week. But two items that I mentioned last month regarding conflict and lobbyist registrations. I would seek support from a council member to ask the city attorney to give us a report on lobbyist registration, which would, in essence, require those who are lobbying the city to register, to be identified, and to be placed on a list, essentially, of lobbyists. Thank you. The other item is going a little bit further in ethics and, in particular, disclosure, to require a little more broad level of disclosure of relationships that city council members have with those coming before the council, whether they be familial, work-related, related through serving on boards or nonprofit boards or commissions that they serve on. This would not be intended to supersede the FPPC rules for recusal, but just to identify a relationship before discussion occurs. Would anyone support that?
Sorry, what kind of relation?
Well, it's rather broad, whether it's familial, work-related, serving on the board or commission on that particular item before us, and perhaps other categories of disclosure. Not recusal. So we're not saying you can't vote. We're saying that before you begin to vote, it should be disclosed. Oh, by the way, I serve on that board of that nonprofit that's before us today.
I'd support that.
So it's just a non-profit, because I want to understand.
No. So,
Because that's not just it, right? What you're saying is if there's an appeal, for example.
right.
And you know the owners.
Right, so if my brother-in-law is here for a
Not
zoning
brother-in-law.
variance on his home, even though that's not a technical recusal, I think that I should have to inform everyone, by the way, guys, that's my brother-in-law. I'm not recusing myself, but just so full disclosure.
How about people that you know? Let's say, you know, when you get elected, you get 8,000 to 10,000 votes, 10,000 people. So how about people that end up before us and you know them through work, through, I don't know, long-time relationship with their kids and family? I don't have a problem with either one. I just want to understand what are
So
we...
I think we can discuss that and sort of pare it down to workable and discrete relationships. Obviously, not people that you know. If it's your business partner, let's say, or former business partner, I think that's something that, if Joe Virgilio, my old law partner, came before us, I think you would want me to say, hey, by the way, that's my old law partner. I could still vote on the item, but I think that should give you the weight. It should help you sort of decide my, any bias I may have and give weight to my opinion as to whether the particular item should pass or not.
But aren't we doing that already? I mean,
I don't believe, are we doing it already, Mr.?
not as a,
Not that broadly, no.
not that broad, but as
This
a
is
courtesy.
too broad, in my opinion, too
Why
broad.
don't we bring back the report and the council can have
I mean, we can
discussion.
discuss it. The point is
Yeah.
to discuss it. It may be too broad. The examples I gave may be too broad. The example of my brother-in-law coming before may be appropriate.
Right,
So we can,
yeah. But
discuss
that's
that.
too broad, and we may forget to mention it, that you know the person or you did business, let's say 20 years ago, what happens? We have to make it more specific in order to vote on it.
so if, did we have someone to second that? So we'll bring it back and discuss it. We want to make it workable. We want to make it
Right.
logical. It's not a trap. That's not intended to be a trap for anyone, but just transparent government. Let's move on to the next item.
Next item is community event announcements, followed by the 3-minute portion of public comments, and there were a few cards submitted for both.
Thank you. The first card is from Glenn Machevka.
Or Hefka.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, esteemed
Marhefka.
council members. My name is Glenn Marhefka. I'm here today representing the Verdugo Woodlands Dads Club, and I'm here with some of my esteemed colleagues, Mr. Nakamura, Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Payne. Our uniforms aren't as cool as our policemen, but we do have T-shirts, so hopefully that's okay. We're here today to talk about the Cars for Cops and Kids Car Show on June 2nd at Verdugo Park. We are really proud to be working with the Rotary Club of Glendale Noon to help them out on this great event. It's really good. It's been going on for a few years. The Dads Club is helping out with the logistics of the show. We're going to provide all the tables because our building, our Dads Club building is across the street. We're going to be providing our tables, our canopies, helping build the gardens for people to eat and things like that. It's a great community event. There'll be entertainment for all ages. They're car enthusiasts, you know, from kids they're going to be events for kids. I heard there's a climbing wall. It'll just be a lot of fun for kids to grandparents. The Cars for Cops show raises money for Glendale Police Foundation and at-risk youth of the city of Glendale, which I think is fantastic. It also is proud to support the Teen and Police Partnership Program, which is known as TAP. It's an 8-week course designed to raise awareness on issues affecting the youth and empowering them to navigate and succeed through it. And we're super happy to have all the great car enthusiasts of Glendale come to this event and display their cars all through the beautiful park that we have at Verdugo Park in the Verdugo Woodlands neighborhood under all the beautiful sycamore trees and oak trees. And the Dads Club is also helping provide the food. We're having Rounds Burgers come with their burger trucks so people can order burgers and food. And there's also going to be a beer gardens that the Dads Club is going to help to serve there. And there's going to be a raffle with all kinds of prizes, and there'll be awards handed out at the end of the day for cars. And it's going to be a great event, and we're super excited to be part of it. And we invite everybody to come that's here today, as well as all of our friends in the city of Glendale. And it's going to be on, again, it's the Cars for Cops and Kids Car Show on June 2nd at Verdugo Park. It starts at 9 a.m. If you want to register your car, bring your classic car, I think you have to be registered by, I believe, May 31st. And I think it's $30 to register. And we're excited to help raise money for all these great programs. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Hardworking dads of Dads Club.
Mara Kelly.
They're at it again.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mara Kelly. I'm president of the board of directors of the Glendale Youth Orchestra. I'm also an alum of the orchestra. On Sunday, May 19th, the Glendale Youth Orchestra will be celebrating our 30th anniversary season finale concert at the Alex Theater. We've been a resident company at the Alex since 1995. This will be a very special evening for the GYO. We will also be featuring our 2019 concerto winner, Miss Jamie Yoon, who's a junior at Crescenta Valley High School. She will be playing the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto. The concert also marks the retirement of our conductor after 19 seasons, Brad Kymack. Brad has invited numerous alums to join us on stage. So our first violin section will be having a side-by-side pro musician, an alum of the orchestra, with our current orchestra members. The concert will feature music of Mozart, Bach, and Beethoven's Last Symphony, the Ninth. Brad has programmed all the music that he loves. Most of it he's played with the orchestra before. The air is the first time. We will also have 7 bass players, 6 of who are either CV alums or current students at CV. Tickets are $15. Student and seniors are $12. There's a discount for Glendale residents, and all tickets are available at the Alex Theater box office. We hope you will all join us in this wonderful celebration of our 30th anniversary. Congratulate Brad Kymack on a well-deserved retirement from music education after 40 years. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's this Sunday, right?
This Sunday, 7 p.m.
Okay, we're going to move into the 3-minute general public comment portion of the meeting. Now, first speaker is Tony Passarella.
Before you start my time, can I ask John, was that the 3-minute, the 3 o'clock special meeting, was that to vote yes or no on the shared mobility?
Yes, that is correct, Mr. Passarello. Next week, Community Development will be presenting a report based on the feedback that we received from the City Council last year, and we'll provide options, and if the City Council so chooses, we can then move forward with the RFP.
So it's going to be a yes or no vote next. So that figures, Mayor Najarian, that figures that you're going to sneak this in after all the work I've been doing here. This is like my 13th week here. You're going to handcuff the people of Glendale, the citizens that are against these scooters, just as I am, and you're going to put it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon where people are working and they can't come and voice their protest against these scooters. That's really, really cute of you guys. Whoever put that at 3 o'clock, that's really cute, really cute. Not happy about that at all. So I want to talk to the people watching by home and the people in this room here. What the council is going to vote on next week, and I'm pretty sure they're going to say yes, at least Mr. Najarian and Mr. Sinanian will. Mr. Garpetian is against them. Maybe we're going to get something over here. I don't know. But here's what they're going to put on the streets. They want to put on the streets scooters where the brakes failed, and this is proven. You don't have to do a pilot program. It's all across the country this is happening. The handlebars are loose and they come off. The throttle sticks at full speed. This is all documented stuff, okay? The baseboards break in half. They break and they speed up. You try to brake and they speed up. The scooter dies halfway through the ride. Do you know that Lime had 3 recalls on these scooters? The batteries exploding and catch on fire. Where are the other 2 here? The baseboard break apart, we talked about that, and they suddenly stop. 3 recalls, okay? Man, this is crazy. Here's some new information. The people that repair those just have to fill out a survey online, and they can qualify, somebody off the street, they can qualify to be a mechanic. Once you're a mechanic, they pick up the scooters at night, and they watch it before they become qualified. They have to watch YouTube videos to learn how to fix these scooters. Can you just imagine these guys picking up these scooters, they're in their pickup trucks at night, going home in their garage or in their apartment, popping open a beer and fixing these sophisticated electronics. This is absolutely nonsense. It's just unbelievable. And why are they disappearing off the streets of Los Angeles? 7,000 were in LA, and now there's 1,500. Why? They're being hoarded. They're being, they break. I just told you how they break. Oh my God, this is nuts. I'll be here next Tuesday. I don't know if anybody will be with me, but remember, people, if they vote yes, they're not concerned about your safety like they say they are.
Thank you. Next speaker is Danielle Johnson. Hi.
Good evening, Mayor Najarian and honorable council members and staff. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak. My name is Danielle Johnson, and I am the camp coordinator and site director at YWCA Glendale. I would like to take this opportunity to extend an invitation for our summer program, Camp Rosie, which is designed for middle school girls who are between 6th and 9th grade. Camp Rosie focuses on exposing middle school girls to healthy relationship building and bystander intervention, healthy communication, conflict resolution, hands-on STEM activities, entrepreneurship and leadership, creative activities that encourage self-expression, service learning projects that connect our campers to issues that affect our community as well. We are using Camp Rosie as an initiative in domestic violence prevention since the statistics show that girls and young women between the ages of 16 to 24 experience the highest rate of intimate partner violence, which is almost triple the national average. Our program will address the known risk factors of domestic violence, such as low self-esteem, lack of support systems, lack of emotional management, no connection to their community, and the belief in strict gender roles, just to name a few. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to extend an invitation to those who might be interested in our program to go ahead and visit our website, ywcaglendale.org, or they can reach me directly. And that was all I had.
Thank you. Ms. Devine?
If I may, having been on the Commission on the Status of Women and having had this program during my tenure there, I know how really valuable it is to young girls and boys. I suppose you have it open to both, but whether you do or not, it is extremely well done. There's a lot of information, a lot of learning that goes on, collaboration and mentorship. There are so many good aspects of that program. I encourage parents that are listening, grandparents that are listening, to enroll your girls, your granddaughters, your daughters in this program. What is it, 2 weeks that you do it?
It's a 2-week program. We used to only have 2 sessions. Now we have extended it to 3 because of so much interest.
Wonderful. So the more young women you get in that program, the better it is, and good luck. And please, those of you that are watching, get your kids enrolled in this program. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next speaker is Ash Rosas. Hello.
Good evening. My name is Ash Rosas, and I'm a junior in high school. Just like many of my friends all around the world, my concerns regarding the current state of our planet has increased exponentially. I've been living in Glendale for as long as I can remember, and the city has a special place in my heart. Growing up, I lived through a regular childhood with laughter, tears, games, and smiles. It wasn't until my middle school years that I began reading more and more about the scientifically proven projection of life on Earth. Life on Earth would face an unimaginable fate that consists of mass extinction, high sea levels, drastic climate changes, and much more. I've spoken about this issue constantly, and every time I've been ignored. It wasn't until my sister began talking and reading that I realized that I wasn't just fighting for my future, but I was fighting for our future and the condition of our lives. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't care about the future of Glendale. I want the city of Glendale to thrive and be an example of successfully switching our energy sources from fossil fuel to clean, renewable energy.
We've had years to prepare for the change, and now it's a matter of action. I know you care about the city, so I beg of you all, please do not invest in any more fossil fuels when the future holds many possibilities that are cleaner and green. So I'll leave you with one quote from Robert Swan. The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. Thank you.
Next speaker, come on, folks. Let's get on with this. Paulo de Jesus.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for having me speak here today. Hello, City Council, and thank you for your time today. My name is Paulo de Jesus. I am a GCC student and the IOC representative of the Glendale Students for Sustainability Club. I am speaking to you today in hopes that you would consider expanding the use of solar energy to produce power for the city of Glendale. We have relied on fossil fuels for many years, and as the technology for renewable energy has improved, we should take the opportunity to change as well. The future of Glendale should be clean and sustainable because we can make a difference. If you make the choice to invest in more fossil fuels in the future, every day citizens will keep paying the price. Your influence can make the difference regarding our climate and our health. As a medical student, I know that the increase of air pollutants will devastate communities, especially Black and brown communities. Furthermore, numerous studies have proven that the increase of air pollutants significantly impacts the health of women and children. Lastly, before I leave today, I'd like to tell you that if we say we love our world, then let's start showing it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Next item at 7A under adoption of ordinance is an ordinance amending titles 2, 15, and 30 of the Glendale Municipal Code 1995 relating to deterring the unpermitted demolition of historic resources and including minor changes and clarification to other code sections. Code amendment case number PZC 1823357. This was introduced by Councilwoman Devine on March 26, 2019.
Ms. Beers.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, what's before you this evening is the demolition deterrence ordinance that has 6 areas which staff can cover if you so choose, dealing with the demolition deterrence piece only. The final version also contains information that was omitted in 2012 based on printing issues that we had with the printer, but that is also included, and the council at the time had taken a vote on that piece, and that is also included in the ordinance. If you'd like Mr. Lanzafame and or Mr. Platt to give you a brief overview, they can. We'll take your lead on that, Mr. Mayor.
This was before us before. Does anyone like a brief overview? This is our new strict regulations against demolition.
Correct.
With stricter penalties. There is another piece to this which will come forward at a later time after council gets further briefed on it.
That is correct.
I do have some speaker cards. Let's go to the speakers. Kathleen Clark. Followed by Steve Hunt.
Hi. I'm a stakeholder in the Bellhurst Hill Slopes neighborhood, and I support adopting the demolition deterrence measures. Glendale's great strength lies in the beauty of its residential communities and the naturally exquisite mountains, along with a lively civic district. Charming neighborhoods are a big draw to Glendale. That's why I moved here. They create a general sense of contentment while offering respite from the mayhem of urban life, traffic, and so much cement. Charm comes with good planning, however, and hasty growth fosters chaos. The demolition deterrence measures are a huge improvement over current regulations, giving the city as well as builders essential structure and guidelines. They don't prohibit growth, but are vital to sensible and sustainable planning. Unpermitted remodels, additions, and demolitions unnecessarily expose workers and those near a site to immediate and long-term hazards. They create inconveniences to residents and often cause harm to the character of a neighborhood. In Silver Lake recently, a beloved historic commercial building was demolished beyond the scope of its remodeling permit in blatant disregard of regulations. Alarming as business and residential neighbors, the building's new owner acted either in defiance of or out of ignorance for the regulations. By not recognizing an essential process or the importance of architecture to the public, he brought upon himself a landslide of civic outrage. The project has been halted, and the community and city leaders are calling for a rebuild. It's not something anyone wants to take on, I don't think. Sacrificing a well-designed civic plan is not worth the short-term gain of slash-and-burn tactics. The proposed measures give the city much-needed tools to shepherd good planning. I humbly ask Council to adopt the demolition deterrence measures. In addition, I ask Council to bring back the rest of the Historic Preservation Ordinance back to Council for adoption as soon as possible. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Steve, and we don't have to, please, folks, let's limit the applause. I don't think anyone here is against this item, so we're all on the same team. Steve Hunt, followed by Susan Mont.
Good evening, Mayor Najarian, City Council members, staff. My name is Steve Hunt. I'm the president of the Glendale Historical Society. We have over 800 members, many of whom moved to Glendale because of the character and charm of our historic houses and neighborhoods. Our members were very upset by the illegal demolition of the 1420 Valley View house. And I'm here to urge you to adopt the demolition deterrence provisions you're considering tonight. Thank you for your leadership ensuring Glendale strongly discourages this behavior. I'm also here to advocate that the rest of the revisions to the Historic Preservation Ordinance, which were unanimously recommended by the Historic Preservation Commission and the Planning Commission, return to Council as soon as possible for adoption. We're grateful to Council Member Devine for introducing the full ordinance in March, and to Mayor Najarian, who has said that he would bring the rest of the revisions back to Council. The revisions bring the ordinance into better conformity with CEQA because they acknowledge the city's obligations for properties that are recognized as local historic resources but have not yet been designated. It is also advantageous to have your experts on the Historic Preservation Commission more involved in decision-making regarding these properties. We also want to make sure that Glendale's policies regarding the approval process for work involving historic properties are clearly explained to owners to avoid uncertainty about what the rules are. And we thank the Historic Preservation staff and the City Attorney's Office for their thoughtful work on the revised ordinance. We hope that you will ask the rest of the revisions to return as soon as possible. And as a reminder, May is Historic Preservation Month. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan Mont, followed by Curtis Schwab.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. I'll make this quick. I just want to say that I really appreciate you guys taking this into consideration. I really hope that you do adopt this. Thank you.
Thank you. Curtis Schwab, followed by Robin Fay.
Hi. I'll keep this short as well. I'm spearheading the proposed historical district of Belhurst Park Highlands, which we submitted almost a year ago with great excitement from our residences. And I would like to thank you for bringing the demolition deterrence measures up for vote and hope you will adopt them. I'm also very hopeful that you will bring up the rest of the Historic Preservation Ordinance back in the near future and put that into effect. Our historic buildings bring so much character and beauty to our neighborhood, and once they are gone forever. Thank you.
Thank you. Robin Fay, followed by Kathy Yurka.
Good evening. I'm Robin Fye, and tonight I'm speaking on behalf of the Ross Moyne Mountain Homeowners Association, as well as the Casa Verdugo Historic District Committee. I'd like to begin by thanking you for bringing the demolition deterrence portion of the ordinance back for a vote. For those of us in the proposed Casa Verdugo Historic District, this is incredibly important because the process of getting an historic district finalized in Glendale takes years. And that designation relies on a neighborhood, as you know, having enough homes that count as contributors to qualify. So during those years, a neighborhood could lose any number of potential contributors that could jeopardize the chances of achieving the historic district that so many homeowners have worked very hard for. And we could potentially be facing that in the future in Casa Verdugo. As you know, we recently lost a potential contributor due to illegal demolition on Lorraine. And we're 2 years into the process with potentially several more years to go. So our neighborhood is very small, and we can't afford to lose any more homes to this. And the boundaries of the Ross Moines Mountain Homeowners Association include the Ross Moines Historic District, the proposed historic districts of Casa Verdugo and Bellhurst Park, as well as Bellhurst Hill Slopes, which is in the application phase. So preserving and protecting our historic resources is extremely important to our members. That's why we support stronger deterrence for illegal demolition, and we also hope that Mayor Najarian brings the entire ordinance back before council for consideration in the very near future. Without certainty and clear set policies with appropriate consequences regarding historic properties, alterations, and demolition, we are all doomed to repeat the loop of misunderstandings and intentional flouting of the law that have plagued the city for years. You are the only ones who can break us all out of that cycle. So we urge you to do that tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Garfecha?
I have a quick question.
Ms. Fye?
You mentioned that there was a resource that was demolished on
Lorraine, that's correct. Lorraine.
Which one was it?
Yes,
because I
it
wasn't
was
aware of that one.
For, what is it, Kathy? 417, thank you, Jay. 417 Lorraine. That's right. Yeah, the facade of the house was demolished illegally. A stop work order was put on it, and that was blown through. And it went before the HPC, the Historic Preservation Commission, and they said what that person was allowed to do, and they went way beyond that and ripped off the entire front of the house.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Kathy Yurka, followed by Zuzka Agena.
Good evening, Mayor Najarian and members of City Council. I just want to thank you for pouncing on that illegal demolition at 1420 Valley View and being so decisive in authorizing the demolition deterrence ordinance. I'm also grateful to Mayor Najarian for saying that he will bring the rest of it back, I hope very soon. I do want to point out that, as you know, I'm sure you all know about Senate Bill 50. As it currently stands, virtually everything north of the 134 in Glendale, and only that portion of Glendale, will be impacted by Senate Bill 50 because it is considered both jobs-rich and high-opportunity areas. One of the few exemptions that is likely to be available to us is historic districts. So I hope you will do whatever you can to preserve them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Zuzka Agena, followed by Lee Smith.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, my husband is here with me. We live on Cleveland, which is a part of the North Cumberland Heights Historic District. And we are here to respectfully request that you approve this ordinance. Those of us who worked on obtaining historic district designations for our neighborhoods are upset, frustrated, and really disappointed by the disregard of regulations by some homeowners. Because of this, Glendale has lost several historic resources, as you're now aware of. So we need these penalties. Unless there are tough and serious consequences, there will continue to be those who disrespect city rules and contribute to the permanent loss of historically significant structures. I understand that the term demolition by neglect would be covered by this ordinance. A good example is right around the corner from us at 1735 Idlewood Road. It is a 1924 French eclectic contributor. Since it was sold after the original owner died a couple of years ago, it has deteriorated. The weeds are growing profusely, The side fence has collapsed, and now the emptied pool has rainwater which breeds mosquitoes after every rainstorm. We certainly don't need to encourage mosquitoes that carry West Nile virus, and now with the new Aedes species locally, could possibly spread Zika, dengue, chikungunya, and even yellow fever. I used to be the health officer here, so I know about these. It just takes an infective traveler to introduce these diseases to our community. Moreover, unsecured gates and undeterred access to the pool has become a safety hazard. We can only guess that the absentee owner may want this to become unsalvageable so that he may build a new house. And I hope that this ordinance would cover this kind of behavior and would certainly deter it. Actually, incidentally, since I mailed you the letter this morning, Mr. Kashashian has been working with code enforcement to help take care of this situation. So please vote for this ordinance and also bring back the entire historic preservation ordinance so that all of us in Glendale can benefit in the future. Thank you. Oh, I have some pictures and documents. Here are the Aedes species, which carry the bad diseases. Here's a picture of the now green pool. Here's a broken down fence. Any child could go there and fall into the pool.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much.
So we have code enforcement going out to Idlewild to look.
Mr. Mayor,
But
members.
they have known about this for a long time.
Thank you. Let's hear from
Mr. Mayor, members, City Council. Code enforcement has an open case on this. In fact, they have taken it far enough. They have referred it to the city attorney's office for enforcement.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you. Lee Smith, followed by Michael Morgan.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and my neighbor. My name is Lee Smith. I live in the Brockmont Park Historic District. I was born in Glendale at Physicians and Surgeon Hospital, which you all know as Glendale Memorial Hospital now. Shows you how far back I go. So I've seen a lot of changes in Glendale. And since public speaking isn't my forte, I'm going to keep this very brief. Please adopt the demolition deterrence ordinance under consideration this evening. Since the 1908 Levi Chubbuck residence at 1420 Valley View Road was illegally demolished in February of 2018, the community has desperately sought a tangible solution to the problem. This issue is not new. Review of city records shows recorded unpermitted demolitions of historic properties or parts of them have occurred throughout the decade. I urge you to consider the other updates to the Historic Preservation Ordinance for adoption as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Morgan, followed by Mike Lawler.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Madam City Manager, staff, and residents. My name is Michael Morgan. I am a resident, president of the Historical Society of the Crescenta Valley, and a Historic Preservation Commissioner. I ask you on the dais to pass the strongest demolition deterrence ordinance as part of the revised Historic Preservation Ordinance. You have heard of the whys, but I will give you my take as a Glendale historian. As you know, we are all here for a very short time. You, as our City Council, are elected to be good stewards of our city, not just fiscal, but historical also. That means not just now, but what we pass on to our children. I hold in my hands a 1924 stylus, Glendale Yearbook stylus, passed on to me by a resident I worked with many years ago that attended the 1924 class. Their wish to me at that time was, by giving me this book, was that we should take care of Glendale's future, as they wouldn't be here to take care of it. By passing this demolition deterrence ordinance, I know you are preserving our past for the future and helping to fulfill that promise they asked of me so many years ago. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Mike Lawler, followed by Anita Rinaldi Harnden.
Hello, Council. I'm from North Glendale, La Crescenta, and I work with the Historical Society of the Crescenta Valley. I write a column for the CV Weekly. And as such, I hear from a lot of people in North Glendale, and there's not much else that makes them angry than illegal demolition of historic structures, particularly craftsman homes. I mean, that's our heritage here in Glendale. So there's an ugly rumor, I've heard it a couple of times, that Glendale doesn't always support historic preservation, but I'm sure that your vote tonight will prove that rumor wrong.
That isn't the ugliest of rumors, I must say. This council has been very proactive in historic preservation since we started the process at least 15 years ago. We've kept Jay Platt busy up to his eyeballs in work for the longest time. Anita Rinaldi Harnden?
Hello. Yes, I'm Anita Rinaldi Harnden. I'm a member of the Glendale Historical Society. I live in the El Miradero district, and I'm a very proud historic home owner. I would like to offer my thanks to the City Council for the demolition deference vote, which is a big improvement over Glendale's current regulations. I have also heard that Mayor Najarian will be bringing the additional revisions back for review in the near future and would like to encourage this to occur soon, as I believe it's important for the residents of Glendale to have more clarity and guidance regarding their beautiful historic properties. I believe Glendale is a very special city and an incredible place to reside, and part of that, almost all of that, I believe is due to our beautiful districts, our historic homes, and our wonderful tree, filled with trees and beauty. The neighborhoods are just gorgeous, and I just believe that preservation is of utmost importance. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ute Baum, followed by Derek Cateo.
Good evening, Mayor Najarian, City Council, and staff. I'm here tonight again to urge you to adopt demolition deterrence measure which punish those who illegally demolish historic properties. This is a necessary and important addition to the Historic District Ordinance. In addition, as soon as possible, bring back the rest of the changes to be incorporated into the Historic District Ordinance. These clarify details of the process and the approvals needed so that people know the rules. Now, I want you to think of all the 1,000-year properties, 1,000-year-old properties or structures all over Europe and the rest of the world that are being valued and protected. Now here in Glendale, our oldest properties are only about, 100 or so years old, my house being one of them. And, but we also think those are very valuable. They too deserve our protection so they have a chance to become 200 or maybe even 500 years old. I love living in my historic district of Cottage Grove and thank the City Council for making this possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Derek Catao, followed by Mark Taraborelli.
Hello, good evening. I am here, just like all of the speakers before me, I echo what they're saying. I support the demolition ordinance changes. And I also urge you to bring back the rest of the ordinance. I live in a pending historic district, South Cumberland Heights, which is Northwest Glendale near Kenneth Village. And we've been going through our process for over 2 years now. So I really feel, and our group, our committee really feels that, the changes that staff has put forth would really streamline and simplify the process for everyone who lives in a historic district, as well as going through the pending process. Thank you for your support. Have a good night.
Thank you. Mark Taraborelli.
Good evening. I'll just keep it simple. I second everything that everyone has said before me. I think they were great speakers and they brought a lot of valuable information that you should consider, and I hope you support the ordinance and you bring back the additional items as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's all the cards I have to comment on this. Are there any comments by council before we take a motion from Ms. Devine?
I'll
Devine?
move the ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a second? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Agajanian?
Yes.
Devine?
Yes.
Garpetian? Sinanian? Yes. Mayor Najarian?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for coming, everyone. Next item.
It is City Clerk regarding 2020 municipal election outreach education program proposals. A1 is a motion to note and file, and A2 is a motion directing staff.
Mr. City Clerk.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is a continuation of the item that was brought before you last week. It is a breakdown and summary of what we would need to do an outreach and education program ahead of the March 2020 primary, when we have consolidated our local elections with the state primaries. Per your direction and the overwhelming approval of the voters of the city, what we would ask for you to do is to approve the direction which asks for funding to do mailers to our voting, to our eligible voters, to do a media outreach campaign. It was also mentioned today to add to that a robust social media component, to have a canvas operation that would do outreach and provide assistance to individuals who require voting, individuals who are perhaps homebound, who would like to have someone come in and pick up their ballot and take it to a vote drop-off center, and also to print and mail out a sample ballot supplement, which would include all of the languages that we customarily send our city election sample ballots out to. But because we are consolidating with the county, and they only send out an English language one, and to those who have pre-requested a translated sample ballot, to send one out to everyone, in which we could also include information about the vote senders, as well as include information about the upcoming census.
Thank you. And I guess I tasked your office in helping us get a better educated and more informed voting public. Come election time, there's a lot of confusion as to who can vote, how to vote, where do I vote, who gets my ballot, who's on the ballot, how many votes can I cast, etc. And so I thank you, Mr. City Clerk, for coming forth with this comprehensive plan. Let me just ask a few questions. With regard to the media component, will we be able to do like PSAs on different ethnic channels, like Armenian TV or?
We are looking to, well, we will work with all of our media partners in Armenian language television, as well as other media, ethnic media. Obviously, cost becomes somewhat of a factor if we go into Spanish television. So the city has in the past used different strategies for different communities. We'll do our best for some. Also, radio works just as well, and also targeted social media. In addition to that, we are looking to partner with the Glendale Community College's drama department to have some public service announcements done. They would not be professional, of course, but they would be far better than anything we could do in-house with some individuals who are studying to go into perhaps acting or into drama. And in addition to that, also do instructional videos. In the past, we have taken the instructional videos from the County of Los Angeles Registrar Recorder's Office, translated it, for instance, to Armenian, and we continue to do that even with their outreach materials for the Vote Center project, and we have shared our resources. So we use all of the resources available to us, and we will work with the county as well. And I should note that we do have excellent resources just here within the city, both with our GTV6 crew, as well as our translators who help translate our materials to the different languages, and we will continue to do so.
Okay, so let me just summarize this. It's really a four-prong program. One is the mailers, the full-color mailers. The other is the translated sample ballots. Third is the canvas operations, and fourth is the media outreach. Is that correct? Each one has a price tag attached to it. Let's open up for discussion, colleagues, as to what you think about this program, and Ms. Devine.
Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
First of all, who supervises the filming, the content of the media presentations?
In terms of who supervises it, it would be my office.
Who writes it, yeah.
It would be, as we have done it in the past, it would be done in-house and would be done through our department.
Okay. Let's see, the canvas operations to community centers and seniors. That's a lot of money, I think, to spend on contractors or canvassers. Is there a way that we can use city staff to do this job? And that way we keep it nonpartisan, and perhaps, I don't know that it would cost us. Would it cost us any, what would we be looking at with something like that?
Councilwoman Devine, the cost is based on the canvassers being paid whatever the current hourly minimum wage rate is for employees within the city.
Oh, okay.
We have used individuals. The individuals would be recruited from a number of places. We have some experienced staff that initially started off as GYA but have a few elections under their belt. If they're available, we'd like to utilize them again. They were part of the canvas operation that we did post-election when we had a number of residents whose signatures either did not match or there were some discrepancies with their ballots, and so these individuals are comfortable going to voters and talking about elections issues. In terms of the partisan aspect of it, I would ask what specifically your concerns were, because I don't necessarily think this would be partisan, and as I have mentioned to at least one of your colleagues, having city employees in an election where perhaps the employee unions are involved or engaged may present other problems. So either way, someone may point out that there is there will always be someone that's going to point out some bias. We will screen the employees. The employees are specifically assigned to work on this purpose. And I think perhaps the canvas term may be misleading. They're not going to be directly going door to door to people. They will be on an as needed and by request basis. In the past, we've had calls to the vote center, individuals saying that, we have someone who's homebound who cannot turn in their ballot. Is there someone that can come and help and assist? And oftentimes they rely on campaigns to do that work for them. This would just offer them the option of having city staff do that. As far as city employees, we'd be open to that. We'd like to have them, but of course that depends on availability and the number of hours that we would have to allocate to this. The program that we'd like to implement that we think would be effective would start at least a month before any of the campaigns we project would start their campaign activities. So we would like to do it at least 3 months before Election Day versus perhaps 2.5 months, which is when most campaigns would begin their canvassing operations.
Can I ask the city attorney or city manager,
Sure.
What would be the availability of staff? Could we provide some of our employees because I know that they can't really get involved in elections, so that really makes them nonpartisan.
Sure. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, Council Member Devine, in terms of city employees being involved as part of an educational and election team, as you all know, we have established a team of folks in the past that have assisted the city clerk's office in the election process. Typically the day of elections, they spend an entire day. Prior to that, they receive some training to make sure that they're well aware of the rules and regulations that are in place and what confines they're working under. Many of those employees are still employed by the City of Glendale. I would work with department directors to see what the availability of some of our employees would be. Some would be probably from the teams that we've had in place in the past, if we were to go down this path and utilize current employees, and possibility of a couple of new employees who haven't been part of this process before. I think we would have the opportunity to work with department directors and allocate some internal staffing for this program, if that's what the city clerk's office needed in terms of support, as well as direction from the city council. That is something I think that we would be able to accommodate.
And do you see that as possibly saving us some cost on the?
I mean, if
that
council,
portion of
sure, if you did not want to allocate the $60,000 based on the 5 canvassers and a project manager / supervisor, we would work with the city clerk's office to figure out what the needs are and how we could fill each of the areas that Mr. Kasakian thinks he needs in terms of folks kind of being the crack team and being available to go out and pick up ballots if necessary and or educate folks in terms of the outreach piece. We could work something out, I believe. It is possible.
I think I'd like to see that happen.
No, go ahead.
No,
Let me just inquire then.
Okay.
With regard to the other 3 components, are you okay with those 3 other components?
Let's see, the
ballots, the
ballot,
media
yeah.
outreach, and the mailer
right.
to the public?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I just had comments about the potential center locations, polling center.
Okay, we'll get to that. Yeah,
But the others.
We'll discuss that.
The others are okay, and what I'm thinking is that if we don't spend that much money on the canvas operations, that if need be, we might have some extra to do the mailers or something, but we can discuss that. But the
Mr.
rest-
Agajanian.
I don't feel comfortable to hire a stranger like a month or 2 months before election, and they go door to door to educate the residents of Glendale. We don't know who they are and how they will come about. I mean, this item 3, I'm not comfortable with, and I want to be eliminated from discussion or not to vote on that part of it. As I said, who will check that? Who are they? Where do you find an independent or somebody who's not biased or who is not affiliated, even with my campaign, let's say? If I send somebody and say, go ahead, and you be part of this canvassing or going to educate the community, I don't think my other council members will be happy. And they will learn about it maybe a year later or 2 years later. So I'm not comfortable with that either. Thank you.
Okay. My other colleagues have any comments?
Yeah, I think the most important part of this is a totally new election. Everything is new. The voting centers will be new. They're not called precincts anymore. They're voting centers. The way you vote is different. The ballots are not translated in Armenian. Am I correct? And they're translated in 12 different languages. And am I correct? And Armenian is not one.
We believe that Los Angeles County will have Armenian translation available, but for those who are at home vote-by-mail voters, which is virtually half of the voting populace, it will not be an Armenian ballot. But if they go, we've been told that with the new technology, when they go to vote, they'll be able to vote in the language that they need assistance in because of the digital technology. That's only at the vote centers.
At the vote centers. So the ballots will not be translated in Armenians. But I think we have to really put most of our efforts on social media, TV advertising, and also that video that was shown here last week as to how to vote with the new devices. and sending the mailers out. As far as the canvassers go, or people who go out and educate people, I think city employees will be a great idea, because when they go there to one of the centers, any center that they go to, they say, we work for the city of Glendale. It sounds a lot better, and maybe they will look more professional, and we don't have to train new volunteer/paid volunteers basically for a few months. And I think that will, because this is going to evolve, and this election, this is the first time we are like kind of the I don't want to say the guinea pigs, but it's a trial and error. The first election is going to continue every other year. It's going to evolve. So if you have the city staff every year, every election, we can use them to educate people. I think that's as far as price goes. I don't think it's going to be any less, cheaper or less expensive. But I don't think that's the issue at this time. It's just them being part of the city and part of your team from the city hall to go and talk to people. But the rest of them, as far as the media outreach, the sample ballot and mailers, I think we have to do that like we do every year. That's where I am.
Okay, well, my concerns are that there are many voters who are unaware and uneducated as to how to vote, and that they have the information as to how to physically vote their ballot, that they know that in some races they may have 1, 2, and perhaps 3 choices, that they are obligated to mark the ballot themselves, whatever the particulars of the rule are, mark it themselves and sign it themselves if they're going to turn it in, and that no one or group of people, I guess, exert undue influence on them. That's my point in this whole thing, is that the voters know how to do it, where to mark it, how many votes they can put through, and that if their ballots are given to someone else, that those ballots are ultimately deposited in the proper spot. I hear my colleagues who are comfortable with 3 out of the 4 of the components. I definitely support those 3 components, and I guess, are we saying let's get some more information on that canvas, whether there's alternatives to?
Mr. Mayor and Council, it is not this suggestion was made based on the concerns that were raised by Council.
Yes, by me mainly. I'm the one that made a big deal about it.
Trying to, given the scope and how the number of things that the county is trying to do countywide among all the cities, we have great faith in their ability to conduct the election. However, in Glendale, our voters are accustomed to a little bit more personalized service, whether that's coming to a police community room and having someone available there to explain to them the process, being able to explain it to them in Armenian. We know that there's a vast difference. I'm sure everyone up on this dais is aware, having been a candidate and having run and also observed elections, that there's a vast difference between the type of service we offer at the city of Glendale with our own local municipal elections versus what it's like at a lot of the polling locations, even when it comes to bilingual volunteers. I understand the concern, but the individuals that we would like to possibly bring back would not be completely fresh new faces who would not know anything about elections. They would be individuals who have communicated and worked with the voting public at least for 1, if not 2 prior elections. Some of them are former GYA employees. However, we are open to the suggestion of perhaps including in this a hotline and training some of our city staff who may be out in the field to be able to assist. I would just say that a lot of city departments and staff are already spread thin as it is. So it would be an added burden to ask for them and to expect them to become experts in elections law and what can and can't be done within a short period of time. I'm happy to confer with the city manager and with other departments and explore in the city attorney to see what other options are available. But I would ask that you at least allocate some of the funding for this outreach program, especially if we want staff, whether it's city staff or any volunteer, to go and actually, to use the term schlep from City Hall all the way to Montrose or to other parts of the town, particularly at the hours when most of them need assistance, and deposit their balls properly, or instruct them as to how they can deposit it themselves, where it will be counted and it will be secure.
No comment?
I think Mr. Sinani is...
Okay. I can move the move to note and file. Is that what's on the agenda?
So you're looking for direction at this point?
Yes.
Direction with the, it sounds like there's consensus on the 3, and then direction to bring back more information on the, on the 4th.
Let's do that. We have clear consensus on the mailers, the sample ballot, the outreach. Let's come back with some more information on the Canvas project, as well as maybe we discussed some other non-binding, what did we call them? The city of Santa Clara, or the county of Santa Clara has that. Campaign commitments that they would provide campaigns with a sheet of ethical campaign procedures that we would ask them to sign, so they're at least aware of what constitutes over-aggressive canvassing versus canvassing that's within.
And Mayor Najarian, we currently do have a fair campaigning pledge that candidates can sign. It's not
We get into the
obligatory,
details, like,
but we can add to that and bring it
let's
back.
bring that back and talk about some ways, just so, and that's one of those forms that a lot of people just, where do I sign? Here are my signatures, am I on the ballot or not? I'd like that to be made, to review that, see if we can add something that would really set forth bright lines as to the ethics, the limits of ethical campaigning.
Mr. Mayor, what about the potential vote center locations?
Ms.
I
Bars,
think we should
Ms.
maybe
Beers,
nail
can you
down
tell
a
us
few
about
of those.
Sure,
that we recommend.
Sure, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, the City Clerk included in his report in the exhibit potential vote center locations that the county has on their website. And Council had asked us, staff, in terms of the potential of vote centers that are geographically placed appropriately within the city of Glendale, and we've utilized before, and they are available and can be utilized for 11 days. And we would offer these up to the City Council as well as the City Clerk in terms of then if there is the comfort level for the City Clerk to be able to share that information with the county to let them know that these may be some of your highest of priorities in terms of potential sites and locations for voting center locations.
Well, I'd
They're
like
listed.
To,
If you'd like me to
do
go
that.
through them, I can.
Yeah, no, I'd like to do that, to recommend that these locations be...
Would you like to read them out?
Oh, I can, sure.
People will know.
Glendale Civic Auditorium, the Glendale Galleria, Columbus Elementary School, Dunsmore Park, Glendale Community College, the Garfield Campus, Maple Park Community Center, Oakmont Country Club, Pacific Community Center and Park, Spar Heights Community Center, Fire Station 24, and the Police Community Room.
May I ask, is this supposed to be an exclusive list?
No.
No, not at all.
Because clearly the entire Northwest is blank, and North Central portion too.
And there are some sites that are already designated on some of the potential locations here as well that was included from the county, and the clerk continues to work with them.
I do ask that we are all aware of just the process that the county is going through, that there is going to be a consolidation and a significant shrinking of polling locations. Voting won't happen in your neighbor's garage as it's been done in the past. It may not even be done at necessarily the school around the corner if that location is not available for the period of time and for the hours that are necessary. the purpose of this project and the purpose what the county and state is pushing in other areas in the voter choice process or this a la carte system is for individuals to go to vote centers and to be able to go to them long before Election Day, leading up to Election Day, and truly to go to any location throughout the county. I gave an example before of if someone is running an errand and happens to see a polling location across the street, but that errand happens to be in Burbank or in a part of Los Angeles, unlike in the past where you could go in and vote provisionally but omit voting for any of the offices or any of the measures in Glendale. Now, because of this digital capability of this voter, the VSAP project, you will be able to vote your ballot, your Glendale specific ballot, anywhere in Los Angeles County.
Scary.
Wow.
Scary.
So although we are going to drop significantly in the number of polling locations, it's just, that is a fact. It's going to happen, and there's not much we can do to change that. What we can control is to make sure that they're areas of high traffic, visible, with ample parking, ADA compliant, which is one of the reasons why we are asking to have the entire police community room reserved, not just the small community room. That was our ad hoc vote center for a few months, as well as the central library, which is in the downtown but has ample parking and accessibility, and people are familiar with it. These locations will be taken into consideration as well. Many of them are already on the website, and for those who are interested, they can go to the website that's listed in this report. It is on the page 3 of the report. It is the placeworkscivic.com project /LACOVCPP. And we're happy to make a slide with that and run it on GTV6 for individuals who want to make suggestions of their own.
Okay, so I guess the base question is, are there any objections to these identified locations?
Is Brand Park on here? Brand?
It should have been, and thank you.
There's nothing in the northwest.
Yes, Mr. Sinanian. It's on the other list, but we should have had it on this list as well. Yes.
Okay, to be, and it's not our call anyway. It's the county's call, but this just says we have no objection to these. Okay, is that good direction? Do we need a vote or anything?
There was a motion for direction, so it'd be direction as per the staff report, except there'd be additional information on the alternatives between canvassers versus hourly canvassers versus employees and other options, and the Santa Clara option on the voting ethics.
What do we call it? The
Campaign ethics?
Campaign ethics form.
Pledge.
Is there a motion then?
I'll move it.
Is there a
I'll move
second?
it.
Yes, second.
Roll call, please.
Council members Agajanian?
Yes.
Devine?
Yes.
Garpetian?
Yes.
Sinanian?
Yes.
Mayor Najarian?
Yes. Thank you. Next item.
Next item is oral communication. Discussion is limited to items not part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Council may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. And the city manager may refer the matter to the appropriate department for an investigation and report.
Dan Brotman.
Good evening. 5 minutes, right? It says 3 here. Okay, there we go. Good evening. My name is Dan Brotman. I am a co-founder of the Glendale Environmental Coalition. I've spoken to you before about GWP's integrated resource plan. Specifically, I've argued that it overstates the need for local resources to replace the old Grayson units. I want to develop one part of that argument here tonight. Let me first explain why this is so important. GWP will soon propose a scaled-down repowering, including 100 megawatts of gas. This is much better than the 262 megawatts that they were advocating for last year, of course, but it's still an investment in gas, which I believe we would all prefer to avoid if we could. They will argue that the 100 megawatts of gas is needed to meet summertime peak loads, not so much today's loads as loads that will be, we will see in the future, so load growth. So if their assumptions about load growth are incorrect, then the argument for 100 megawatts of gas doesn't hold up. So that's the premise. And that's why we really need to dig into their assumptions. GWP is now projecting peak loads to increase from around 350 megawatts today to about 400 megawatts by 2030. They attribute virtually all of this to the increased adoption of electric vehicles. This may seem logical at first. We know that the state is pushing hard to get more EVs on the road. We know that more EVs mean more demand for electricity. That's pretty obvious. But the question is, does the demand for electricity or energy overall necessarily mean higher peak loads? That's really the question. I'd say the answer is no. EV charging is actually the perfect application for market incentives to discourage energy use during peak hours. Most people charge their cars after they get home from work. And, you know, if I'm paying a 30 to 50% premium to charge between the hours of 3 and 8 or 3 and 9 or whatever it might be, you can be sure that I will wait until before I go to bed to charge my car. And the chargers nowadays, you know, you can get home, you can plug it in, you can set the timer, you can have it start later. So it's actually very easy to do. I'm indifferent as long as my car is fully charged in the morning. And I think most people would feel the same way. In fact, I was reading a report about a 3-year-old program that San Diego Gas and Electric has been running called Power Your Drive. It's a program that involves installing 3,000 charging stations around San Diego, condos, at apartment buildings, and at businesses. As part of this program, San Diego Gas and Electric has been testing time-of-day rate schedules to maximize charging during periods of low grid utilization. The result was that with the right incentives, they found that 94% of EV charging took place off-peak. And other utilities are experimenting with demand response. For instance, Sonoma Clean Power, and this is just one example I know of, gives people free or subsidized chargers in exchange for the right to cut off charging or throttle back the charging speeds in a system emergency. For instance, if a transmission line were to fail. There are many approaches we could take if we wanted to. The bottom line is that we can certainly see EV loads growing without a one-to-one increase in the peak load. But GWP's load growth numbers assume zero effects from any of these types of approaches. And that makes them, in my mind, highly suspect. In fact, the whole IRP is based on numbers that ignore the potential for energy efficiency and similar programs to reduce loads. And I've confirmed this with Steve. And it's a real contrast, and you should think about this. The 2015 IRP actually showed our peak loads falling from 350 megawatts to 300 megawatts, largely because of energy efficiency gains. That's about 1% a year decrease. Suddenly, in this IRP, loads are going up by 1% a year, and there's no energy efficiency built into that. So there's really something missing here. I did take a look at Burbank's IRP, and they face the same EV challenges we do, but they're showing no growth in peak loads out to 2030. Pasadena's IRP has a small amount, around half of what Glendale's assuming. So there are variations here. I don't think you want your legacy to be the council that approved the very last gas plant in the entire state of California, and therefore I'd strongly suggest you ask GWP to redo their numbers with realistic assumptions about load management. We've spoken to people at the top of the California Energy Commission. They are willing to help. We need a more realistic picture to go forward with. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brotman. Last card I have is from Mark Cutting. Is Mr. Cutting in the audience? Well, that is the last card that I have. Do we have new business? 2A?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Carpet?
Yes, thank you. I move that city attorney be and hereby is authorized by and through its outside counsel, Burke, Williams, and Sorensen, to initiate legal action in Superior Court. The names of the defendants and other particulars shall be disclosed as required by law. The city attorney is further authorized to incur any and all expenses necessary in connection with said matter.
I move.
Second by Mr. Agajanian. Roll call?
Councilmembers Agajanian?
Yes.
Devine?
Yes.
Garpetian?
Yes.
Sinanian?
Yes,
Mayor Najarian?
Yes. Who else has one?
I have
Mr.
one.
Sinani?
I move that pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.1 and Article 8, Section 1 of City Charter, the council hereby approves the city attorney's appointment of Lara Bayramian as Assistant City Attorney for the City of Glendale, and further that a written copy of this motion be transcribed, certified, and delivered by the City Clerk to the Office of Civil Service Commission of the City of Glendale as and for the written statement required by Article 24, Section 5, Subsection 2 of the Charter.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Council members Agajanian?
Yes.
Devine? Yes. Garpetian?
Yes.
Sinanian?
Yes.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
We are adjourned.